Let's create a bookmark in Tinkercad. Click on your avatar and choose New Design and 3D Design. You can use whichever shapes you like, create something completely original. I'm just going to create a quick and easy bookmark. First, I'll drag out a cube, and I'm going to make it 0.6 millimeters tall, so very thin, and let's say 120 millimeters long. Now I'm going to drag out a cylinder and use the sides slider, move that all the way to the right so that it's nice and smooth around. Again, I'm going to make it 0.6 millimeters tall, and I'm going to move it up to the top. I'll click on top, so I'm looking straight down, switch to orthographic view, tap the F key so that I zoom right into the cylinder. You can see that there's a little gap there. I want that to be exactly even. So I can click on the cylinder and move it down, just eyeballing it so that the center line of the cylinder is precisely at the top of the red shape. Another way of doing it would be to select both shapes, choose the Align tool, and align them both so their top edges are touching. And I know that the cylinder is 20 millimeters, so I can switch this to 5 and just use the arrow key to move the cylinder up 5, 10, and then I know that's precisely aligned. Now I can select both and group them, but before I do that, I'm going to click on just the cylinder, duplicate it, and move the duplicate off to the side. Now I'll select the top cylinder and the red shape and group those two together. And I'll repeat the procedure down at the bottom because I want to have a rounded bottom here as well. So once again, I can move those shapes and just eyeball them so they're matching. But sometimes it can be hard to tell if they're precisely matching. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and just use this method. In this case, I'll select the red shape and 5, 10, move it up 10. Select both and group. Okay, so I now have a sort of tongue depressor shaped bookmark. I'd like a hole in the top that I can put a ribbon in. So I'll choose top view, move it over, zoom in, smooth the sides, and let's say I want this 5 by 5. Click off the shape, click on it to move it. I'll select both and center. That actually looks pretty good the way it is. If not, you can tweak it to position it precisely as you wish. And I'll join the shapes to create a hole for my ribbon. And the last thing I'm going to do is create a sort of cutout shape that can slide over a page. So I'm going to drag a box out, and let's say I make that 3 millimeters by 100. I'm going to turn it into a hole, and I'm going to slide that down there, roughly positioned, duplicate it, move the duplicate over, duplicate it again, move that duplicate over, and then rotate it 90 degrees and change the length to, let's say, 15 millimeters. Drag that down. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is select one of the vertical shapes and hold down the Shift key and click on the second one, and then zoom in. I'm going to reduce my snap grid to 1, and I just want to tweak it over so that it's about right. And actually what I'm going to do is click one of these, just move that over a little more. Then I'm going to hold down the Shift key and select the second vertical line and join those as a group. And now I'm going to click and drag to select the orange bookmark and those two grouped vertical lines and center them so that they're in the middle. And that's good. Now I can select them again and choose group. And I've got the slit all the way down. All that remains is to cut the bottom off so that the middle piece will be loose and can lay over a page in the book. So I'll use the F key to focus in on that, and I'll just eyeball this. It only has to go across this middle piece to cut it. The trick is to make sure that it's aligned down at the bottom. And in this case, I'm just going to eyeball it. I'll select everything in group, and the cut is made. So now my bookmark is ready to export and print. Rename it and export as STL. In Flash Print, I'll choose File, Load File, Bookmark. And there it is. I'll just click Move on Platform and Center, make sure it's flat on the platform and centered. I'll check to make sure that it's solid blue on the bottom. That's fine. Now if I wanted to, I could print multiples of these. I could click Duplicate, and let's say add 4 more. That looks good. Now I'll click Start Slicing. I know that the thickness of my model is 0.6 millimeters. So what I'm going to do is click General, and I'm going to change layer height from 0.18 to 0.3. So in other words, this model will be 2 layers tall. And I'm going to undo raft because I want it nice and flat and smooth. I'm printing on a glass bed. And that should be fine. I'll click Start Slicing, Slice Preview. If you look down below, you can see there are 2 layers. So each one would print very quickly, but because I'm printing 5 at the same time, this print will take 1 hour and 4 minutes. And if I look at the layers at the bottom, I have only got 1 layer and 2 layers. Now I can download and print. You don't have to print multiples at once, but I'm just demonstrating that you can. If you want to just print 1 at a time, click Close Preview, select 1 at a time, and on the keyboard hit Command Delete, Command Delete, Command Delete, Command Delete, then Start Slicing, Slice, Slice Preview, and you can see that this is just 13 minutes. If the bookmark is not thick enough, you can go back into Tinkercad and add another 0.3 millimeter layer. But you don't want a bookmark to be too thick, right? You don't want to damage the pages or to have it bulge out too much. So you can start thin, and because the prints are very quick, you can do some trial and error to find the right thickness that works for you.